Welcome to the home of the Mustangs, DCG TV. Time for another edition of the Mustang Full Gallop. My name is Eric Connor, joined once again by Scott Heitland, head coach of the DCG football program. Thanks for joining us again.
Good to see you again.
Hey, last week, interesting game. You guys moved to 3-1 on the season in convincing fashion over Des Moines Roosevelt, 39-6. I say interesting because it just looked like you guys maybe were a little off. I don't know. It just didn't. Things didn't quite hit the way they normally do. I don't know if you felt that.
Well, when you have, I think, a combined, 8 or 9 turnovers in the game between the two teams, we had some big penalties throughout the game. It kind of makes things feel choppy and it doesn't have a flow to it. So, yeah, I don't know I would disagree. I couldn't disagree with you.
Yeah, but hey, again, 3-1,
Yeah.
39-6 win.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the defense here because honestly, it was a masterclass, and I want to get all these stats right, so I'm actually going to read them. I don't normally do this, but you forced 6 turnovers. All 3 starting linebackers and cornerbacks had an interception, including not 1 but 2 pick sixes. Might have had a third if not for a penalty. Wyatt Valenta had 1, and Samson Johansson had 1. You had 4 sacks, a forced fumble, and only allowed 16 rushing yards.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you say about that?
Great job. I mean, really, it's, I think number 1, it comes back to really good preparation on their part. Number 2, I think you're seeing our defense grow and mature a little bit. And number 3, just great effort by our guys. And, we constantly tell them if you will line up right and remember, what your job is on every play, sometimes, things will just fall into your lap. And it didn't just fall into their laps. They put themselves in positions to do it. But, they've done a great job. I think, they've gone 2 of the last 3 games without giving up a defensive touchdown. And I think that's something that needs to be celebrated as well. And so they're doing a really good job. Coach Grotoff, all the guys on that side of the ball, all the players on that side of the ball, really doing a great job.
And I did see this week that you guys are ranked 3rd in Class 5A in points against at 13. So
Yeah.
it's always a good stat.
It is.
I got in trouble last week because I didn't say anything about our offense. So the guys gave me a hard time. So I'm going to mention them. You got 296 yards of offense this week. Ozzie Grimm, 125 and a touchdown on the ground. And then Chase Heitland got 98 yards and then a touchdown, kind of a head tap on that one as well.
Yeah.
What do you say about the offense from last week?
I think the biggest thing I like about what our offense did Friday night was in the 4th quarter when it was a time where we just had to line up and run the football and everybody in the stadium knew we were going to run it. We probably had our best drive of the night.
Yeah.
Some of the penalties and a couple of the early turnovers, excuse me, stalled some drives. We had the ball, I think, 1st and goal and had turnover.
Yeah.
So that those are things we'll work through. Hopefully it's happened on a night where we had a comfortable lead and a comfortable margin. But the offense is progressing in a way that we see the progress we're making in practice, and this would be a great week for them to click on all cylinders, just like the defense is.
Excellent. So I noticed on Friday night, I was at the game at Mediacom Stadium. You have a conversation with the side judge, the official. Let's pull back the curtains a little bit just for the fans. Got to keep it PG.
Yeah.
But what's the normal conversation that you have with that official?
It depends on what point in the game. If it was after their onside kick report, it was probably about the 3 guys that were offside that didn't get called. But for the most part, a lot of times it's just asking questions, asking clarification. Hey, tell me what you're seeing here, because what we're seeing on the sideline, or maybe what our spotters are seeing up top, is telling us that maybe this is happening. And so a lot of times it's for clarification, but a lot of times too, it's for me, trying to let him know that I see something that I think he needs to watch, or that we see something that we think isn't maybe on the up and up with an alignment, or maybe with the guy leaning out of his stance when he's pulling. But sometimes it's just us shooting the breeze too.
It's like you probably know most of them.
Yeah, after it's been a few years,
Yeah.
And so a lot of them are familiar faces. But there are nights where it might be in their ear, frustrated about something. But for the most part, it's usually a question, a clarification, or just kind of something will happen on the field, and we'll kind of do a look at each other and get a chuckle out of it. So it's pretty harmless most of the time.
And you got to stay back because they
Yeah.
run the sideline.
Yeah.
Is that too soon from last year?
I'm
I'm
still sore.
those of you who don't know, You got run over by the sideline official
Yes.
last year, and
Yes.
got a penalty for it. But
Yeah, we got a warning. We got a warning.
That's right. But that was some funny stuff. All right, let's move to this Friday.
Yeah.
Homecoming season. It's week 5. The season is flying by.
It's unbelievable.
It's crazy. But homecoming, Waukee comes to town, so rivalry renewed.
Yeah.
And honestly, it has some playoff implications. It seems early to think about that, but you look at the schedules, and this is a big game for both teams. What do you think happens Friday night here?
I think when you talk about it being a big game for both teams, they're coming in at 1-3, and the first thing we talked about with our guys is that this is not a 1-3 football team. Their 3 losses are to Johnston Valley and Ankeny.
All top 5 teams.
All top 5 teams.
Yeah.
So this is a team that I think had some high expectations coming into the year. And on the surface, people would say maybe they haven't lived up to that yet, but I would discredit that a little bit. I think they played a really good schedule, and it's going to be a really good test for us. And we're going to have to play really good football in order to come out on the right side of it. So they are a veteran team in some areas. Coach Baker's son is a quarterback. He's been playing since he's a freshman. It's one of those kids that you wonder, is he ever going to graduate type of things.
Yeah.
And so, he's got tons of experience and tons of snaps back there, and everything offensively moves through him. If we kind of told our guys that, if they're successful, it's because he's having success. He's good with his feet. He's good with his arm. He's a seasoned veteran. He doesn't panic a lot. He's got a really big target in the Jacobson kid at tight end.
Yeah.
The Jeter kid, one other assistant coach's son, is a wide receiver for them. So, they've got some weapons offensively. Defensively, same type of thing. I think they're very solid on the back half of their defense. The front half of their defense is good as well. I don't know that I could say there's really a weak point to them, because it's hard to, when you flip on the tape against them in Valley, it's a really good football game.
Yeah.
They're moving the ball up and down the field, as is Valley. And so, it's going to take one of our best efforts of the year, to be in this football game. And, it's week 5 though, and I think we're ready for that challenge, and we're ready for that opportunity.
Well, we can't wait, fans. You have been fantastic all year long, so let's keep it up. Homecoming this week. Coach, thanks again, and
you bet.
Good luck Friday night.
All right.
Appreciate everyone for joining us, and as always, go Mustangs.
Go Mustangs.